Husqvarna.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Husqvarna Motorcycles, welcome to the 2017 Enduro Media Launch. My name is Paolo Carrupa. I'm taking care of press and public relations. Today with me are Justin Maxwell, our product manager, R&D off-road responsible Florian Schober, his colleague Christian Sperz, the mastermind for the off-road engines, last but not least from WP Performance Systems, from the R&D department, Simo Kirsi. A very special welcome as well to our online audience. We are streaming live this press conference on our YouTube channel. To officially introduce our brand new 2017 model range, we decided today to come back to our roots. That's why we're here today in Husqvarna in Sweden, because in this place is where everything was born over a century ago. In this nice little town in 1903, what was since that time a weapons company took a new path on the history by putting a 1.5 horsepower engine on a bicycle. That was the first Husqvarna produced, but that was as well one of the first motorcycles worldwide produced at that time. These people, this company, they were pioneers. They were pioneering new paths and new solutions as well. And if you try for a second to come back to the beginning of the 20th century, you will understand how modern, how innovative they were at the time. And today, Husqvarna Motorcycles tries to keep alive this pioneering spirit by introducing a totally redefined enduro model lineup, which represents another milestone in our company's history. And I think we can say another milestone on the enduro market as well. Dramatic savings in weight, in dimensions, traction control as a standard on an enduro motorcycles, and much more details that my colleagues will give you in the next few minutes. Straight after the press conference, we will take the opportunity to visit the Husqvarna Museum. And I'm sure that you will immediately realize and also immediately understand what was the meaning of being pioneers in the industry at the beginning of the 20th century. And you'll be totally fascinated, I'm sure, by the 113 years old long history of our company, of Husqvarna Motorcycles. So thanks for listening, and please welcome Justin Maxwell.
Thank you for the introduction, Paolo. For me personally, it's quite exciting to be working with a brand with such a long and rich heritage in the motorcycle industry. But in the new generation of Husqvarna Motorcycles, we haven't had too much time, and we've been quite busy at work bringing you our second completely new generation of enduro motorcycles. So when we say completely new, we mean completely new from the ground up. Nearly 90% of the components, or more than 90% of the components, are completely new for model year 17. Starting off with our model range, keeping the capacities the same as what they were in the past. We have a TX125, a TE250, and a TE300 on our two-stroke side. And following up on the four-stroke side, FE250 and FE350. These two bikes share a lot of common features on the motors as well as on the chassis. And looking at the bigger four-strokes, the FE450 and the FE501. Also sharing a lot of the same sort of technology and the same sort of architecture on the engines and chassis. So how we begin is taking you through some of the chassis work on our new model year 17 Husqvarna Enduro motorcycles. As we said, everything completely new from the ground up. Everything was looked at again, and in order to having someone here to help me run through the chassis details, Florian Schober. He is our project leader in R&D for Husqvarna Enduro motorcycles. And yes, Florian, tell us, starting something from the ground up, creating a completely new enduro motorcycle from the beginning, what does it all entail, and what did you guys look at in developing our model year 17 enduro range?
Hello to everybody, also from my side. Yeah, since the last 2 years in the R&D, we took a look on every area of the bike. So more than 90% of the bike are reworked and new designed. For example, the whole bodywork, the link components, frame, all engines, front end, which mean we did a lot of work to get a weight reduction and performance, better performance.
Thank you, Florian. So, as we start off looking at the chassis, of course, the center of any motorcycle as it begins its life will be in its frame. So, where all the rest of the components, the engines, etc., all become attached to, we looked at developing from the ground up by looking at the frame first. So, a completely new frame for model year 17, featuring different dimensions, different sort of characteristics that were built into the frame as well, but still keeping the same sort of material that we were using in the past, this being the chromoly steel. We like this material specifically for its lightweight strength as well as its flex characteristics. When designing the frame as well, we managed to save some weight. Like we say, we looked at every component and how we can reduce its weight and improve performance. So we managed to save 0.6 kilograms on the frame, so a total of 8.8 in total, the frame weighing, excluding the subframe and the swing arm, of course. And looking at what we all changed, we have Florian here again, looking at the white frame being the new one and the blue frame being the old one. And Florian, yes, tell us about how we changed these geometries and how they made our new Husqvarna models better.
On the new model year 17 Enduro range, we'll have a lower top tube, which gains more area in this space and improves also the flexibility of the frame. We will use hydroforming manufactured side tubes, which are perfectly 3D adjustment and reduces the stress level also. According this technology, is possible to redesign the forged side piece as small as possible to reduce also the overall weight. We modify also the headstays position to get a better agility, and according the new engine design, we designed the front tubes slimmer. In fact, that's
of all of their efforts and what we were trying to do in the overall, as you can see on the two schematics, again, the white frame being the new frame, where the blue one is being the old. And we looked at different, changing the flex characteristics of our frame. So if you look on the left-hand schematic, we're looking at torsional rigidity over there. And what we actually wanted to do is increase the torsional rigidity. So it's actually 20% more rigid torsionally. And the reason for this is to improve handling agility and stability and cornering. When we look at the longitudinal axis over there, we see that there's an increase in flex. So basically what we want there is 30% extra longitudinal, less longitudinal stiffness. And what this does is increases rider comfort and at the same time has better suspension functionality between the frame and the suspension. So next up, another key feature that we have standard on all Husqvarna Enduro models is a new engine protector. So made from a high-strength composite material, but for this year, fixes directly to the frame. So you'll see that we have a new threaded insert just on the front of the frame that is specifically designed for this engine protector. And this obviously increases the durability and the reliability of the engine protector, which will always protect the engine for typical enduro type riding over rocks or over tree stumps, things like this. Next, with the frame, we looked at redesigning a new type of foot peg mount. The foot peg mount is self-cleaning, something that you could have seen on our earlier motocross models. So what this means is that if the foot peg gets a buildup of dirt collected through ruts or mud, that it will always spring back into its original position, ensuring that you always have perfect control. Looking at the foot peg itself, we've also completely redesigned this. This has been designed specifically for enduro type riding, so it's got a enduro specific angle and grip pattern on the foot peg, and is also 6 millimeters higher. This not only gives you a little bit more ground clearance, but the main feature of this is just to increase a bit of handling agility at low speed with the different pivot points. Next up, a design unique to Husqvarna. We use a carbon composite subframe. Florian was quite instrumental in developing the subframe, and yes, Florian, would you give us some information on the benefits of using this type of material?
On the Model Year 17 range, we use a carbon fiber reinforced polyamide, which allows us to design the subframe smaller, lighter, and even stronger. This was possible by a lot of loops, by computer analyzing, and also by test bench. And the big pro of this subframe is also that it does not bend. And so in case of a crash, it will always return to its original position.
And with this subframe as well, making it smaller and using the carbon composite material that we have, we've actually managed to save a complete 1 kilogram of weight from the subframe from what we were using in the model year 16 Enduro range. Next, we have obviously a premium approach at Husqvarna with CNC machine triple clamps, and within our CNC machine triple clamps, we have a new WP Explorer 48 front fork. This has been developed by WP Performance Systems specifically for enduro type riding. And we have Simo here from WP R&D, and he can give us a little bit of information on these forks and the benefits of having them. Over to you, Simo.
Hello everybody. After a few years of intensive planning and testing, we are proud to launch new split open cartridge fork for 2017 Husqvarnas. We have separated function. On the right side we have a rebound leg, and the left side we have a compression leg. All 30 clicks. And then we have also a new preload adjuster. 3 steps. Each step means 3 millimeter added to preload. We also constructed a new hydro stop there, a little bit larger diameter for a better bottoming resistance. This brings you an advantage of different kind of soil where you need a lot of bottoming resistance through the stroke. Okay, here we have a picture, cutted picture from the fork leg. The first one is from the compression leg. There we have all new cone valve. Maybe you can point the cone valve out.
Yep.
This is the cone valve. Okay, that's all new there. And compression damping is adjusted through that, providing a nice smooth damping feeling along the whole stroke and a variable piston speed. Beside of this, it has a long maintaining interval and it's durable. Right out of the screen you will find the picture from the compression leg, rebound leg. There we have a new rebound spring, but it's a little bit harder than before, providing a nicer feeling, rider feeling. And then we have also new improved sealing, what gives you advantage for the durability.
Thank you, Simo. So when looking at the front suspension, of course, we also had a completely new rear suspension for our model year 17 Enduro range. And starting off, we can have a look at the swing arm. A swing arm, quite an important piece of machinery that we have on our Enduro models, needs to be extremely strong, of course, but also as light as possible. So we use a hollow cast aluminum swing arm, giving us the strength that we need at also as lightweight as possible. A key feature we have on the swing arm as well compared to last year is you'll see there's machining away on top of the chain adjuster markings, which allows you to see it from the top just to have some easy maintenance or chain maintenance. Of course, this is connected to an Enduro-specific linkage type system on our Husqvarna Enduro motorcycles. And Florian, part of the chassis project, was developing a new type of linkage specifically for our Enduros. And yeah, Florian, tell us about how we developed this Enduro-specific type linkage.
Yeah, on the new swing arm you will see that we will stay on the 20mm axle, which brings the best agility to the performance. At next we use a new link parts, which allows to reduce the piston speed on the shock. At next we have a complete new shock with an increased stroke and reduced overall length. With this combination it's possible to find a really sensitive shock setup, which is also a big benefit for traction in enduro riding.
So, Florian, when we look at developing this type of linkage, how does it differ from a motocross type linkage that we've seen traditionally in the past? How does it make the benefit for enduro type riding?
With all these components, we try to reach our targets: traction, agility, and sensitive setup on the shock. And it's done and really good feeling on this bike like it is now.
Perfect, thank you. So, looking at the enduro-specific linkage, we also have this connected to a brand new rear shock from WP. Simo again can take us through some of the benefits of this new shock that we have in our enduro motorcycles.
Yeah, pretty much we have all new lightweight construction for better handling, and we saved also 300 grams weight there. So it's a massive lot of weight. The shock is also found from the Husqvarna motocross models from 2016. Within small modifications, we made it possible to fit it in also to the Enduro Husqvarna 2017. It's also pressure balanced, providing durability and linear damping feeling through the whole stroke.
Thank you, Simo. So, looking at the next part of our Husqvarna model year 17 is at new bodywork. Of course, the bodywork, quite an integral part or a unique feature of our Husqvarna design that we have, and not just designed to look different than what we're seeing on the average motorcycle these days, but it's also very functional. So there's a lot of testing that has been done in order to find the perfect type of contact points between the rider and the bike to have him feeling the most confident and the most comfortable, and also allowing him to move up and down the bike as easily as possible. So you'll see on this area is quite a narrow area of movement for the rider's legs up and down, always keeping him in good contact with the motorcycle as well as keeping him comfortable and planted. Also new for model year 17, we have a low profile seat with a high grip seat cover. So what this does is keeps the rider planted under either muddy or wet conditions and always keeps him confident under hard acceleration or hard braking. Next up, the AIRBOX. So AIRBOX needs to be, of course, redesigned when we're redesigning all the frame and the bodywork. The AIRBOX on the Husqvarna is designed specifically to prevent air deformation. So this ensuring the best airflow into the intake manifold, ensuring the best performance. At the same time, of course, the AIRBOX or air filter is there to protect the engine from any dust or foreign debris getting inside. And we use a standard twin air filter, very good name in the industry, of course, to ensure that this reliability continues. And another nice unique feature is, like we've had in the past, a toolless air filter access. So you can access your air filter without the use of any tools. But new for model year 17 is a newer, more fail-proof mounting system. So when the rider does his maintenance on his air filter and reinstalls the air filter back into the AIRBOX, it's pretty much impossible to install it incorrectly. And this obviously ensures that there's never a wrong installation, and that is always safe operation and never any damage done to the engine through dust getting inside. Next, looking at the fuel tanks. So we redesigned all the fuel tanks in order to match with the new bodywork and new frames. We still use a translucent plastic as used in the past, so easy to see what your fuel level is just from the look of the eye. 10 liters we have on the 2 strokes and 8.5 liters on the 4 strokes. And on the 4-stroke side, we also have an integrated fuel pump as well as fuel level sensors, so this can always notify you on your speedometer when you're running low on fuel, so you know when to top up. And also a new redesign we have is on our fuel outlet. So in the past it was just a straight T-piece that came out of the fuel tank. We've now angled this in towards the motor, getting it out the way of when a fallover or something could happen, that if it won't be easy to come into contact with rocks or anything and damage and keep you riding on your trail, of course. Next, looking at our new radiators or integrated cooling system. So what this means is that the radiators are integrated into the frame, a design we've used in the past. This helps improve heat dissipation and also reduces the need for extra hoses that we would need if we weren't integrating it into the frame. The radiators themselves, the airflow is designed using computational fluid dynamics. So this is a computer software that allows us to see the airflow into the radiator and improve this flow to make sure we have the best cooling at all the time. A unique feature though for enduro type riding is our normal radiator protectors that are normally there to protect the radiator from rocks or flying debris. Also now it doubles up as a sort of radiator brace. So if you fall over on rocks or get any impact into the radiator, this radiator protector will divert the energy around into the frame and prevent any damage to the radiator while you're out on the trail, meaning you can carry on with your ride, of course. We have standard cooling fans on all of our 4-stroke models from 250 to 501. And unlike in the past where they were activated by a thermo switch, this is now actually activated by the ECU, which knows what the water temperature is, and this will turn on the fan at the perfect time when it would need to be turned on. Next, looking at our handlebars and controls. So neck and tapered aluminum handlebars we have standard on all our Husqvarna model year 17 bikes. These have a specific enduro type bend for enduro type riding style and ergonomics. And also a new feature that we have is an ODI lock-on grip. So something that we adapted from our motocross range. It's a grip that does not require any gluing. It just has a screw that fastens it onto the handlebar. And once it's on and tightened, it will not move anywhere or slip or slide around at all. Quite a nice, unique feature there. And also on our 4-stroke models, we have a throttle cam that comes standard. You get 2 standard throttle cams with each 4-stroke model. And this can change your throttle progression opening speed. So with the gray one that it comes standard with is a shorter throttle opening. Or if you change it to the black one like we have over here, this just means you get a longer throttle opening, and this can be customized for the rider, dependent on their preferences, of course. Also new for model year 17, we have Magura hydraulic clutches. So changing from the Brembo that we had last year, it's all Magura across the entire Husqvarna Enduro range. So next, looking at the brakes. Brembo standard brakes that we have, the best in the business you could say at the moment for off-road braking. So we ensure that we have the best braking performance and premium products or standard on all Husqvarna motorcycles. The change for model year 17 is that we now have a rear piston in the caliper that is 24 millimeters as opposed to 26 millimeters in diameter. And this coupled with the new longer rear brake lever, 10 millimeters longer, gives us a little bit better modulation and better feeling on our rear brake. Next, wheels and tires. So with Husqvarna's premium approach, as stated, we have standard DRD rims on all of our Husqvarna model year 17 bikes. Different from last year now, these are fitted with Metzeler 6 Days Extreme tires. So FIM approved and street legal, and also very good grip on varying types of terrain. Next, we look at a very important feature, of course, same as we had last year, electric start standard on all of our models, except for the 125. I'm sure as being enduro riders, you're very familiar of being stuck or stalling in very tricky situations, and having an electric start is one of the major benefits. Main thing to look at for model year 17 is we've now coupled the system to a high capacity lithium ion battery, 3.6 amp hour lithium ion battery. And this not only gives us better starting reliability and more service life, but also we've managed to save 1 kilogram of weight just by changing this battery over from last year's conventional type battery design. So looking at some of the overall weight savings that we have, we've saved weight on all of our enduro models for model year 17. Some of the highlight ones that we look at, the TX125, this saved 3.8 kilograms in total on an already very lightweight bike. FE450 and FE501, the other two highlights there, we saved 6 kilos, a whole 6 kilograms on these two models alone. So quite big significant weight savings from chassis as well as engine side over there. So that brings us to the end of our chassis discussions. Next, I'll take you through some of the engine stuff. There to help me, I have Christian Sperts. He's a project leader of off-road engines in our R&D department. And yes, Christian, give us some information on the highlights of our new model year 17 engines for our enduro bikes.
Hello, good evening also from my side here as well. The main goal on the engine side was to bring down the masses and centralize all the rotating masses, bring it more to the center of gravity. There you can see the engine case, for example, of a 250-350 engine platform, and behind you see the bigger one is from model year 16, and near the closer to you is the new model year 17 one, and you can see it is got really much shorter.
So Christian, in off-road engine development, as we've seen of late, there's a lot of talk about mass centralization and changing shaft arrangements and all that. Where are we actually trying to move these shaft arrangements, and what are the benefits of moving into a more central area?
Yeah, the center of gravity of the whole motorcycle is just in the area of the electric starter right here. And yeah, as you can see in the picture, we tried to move up all the shafts, the crankshaft and the gearbox input shaft. With the gearbox input shaft, it's also a benefit that the clutch is coming more out of the oil, which is also reducing the oil drag. Coming to the small engine platform 250-350, here we have a new, even better DLC coating on the finger followers for better reliability as well, and also a completely new timing drive with very much reduced friction. Furthermore, there is a new piston and cylinder. The cylinder got shorter by some 6 millimeter, I think. This was only possible by shortening the conrod as well, where can Justin tell you more about.
So with obviously changing all these shaft arrangements and getting things into the order that we would like them, we found that we actually needed to shorten the conrod in order to keep the same stroke that we had as last year and keep the same capacity. So a new shorter conrod for model year 17 on the 250 and 350. At the same time, when looking at our crankshafts, something we had in the past as well, we use a plain big-end bearing design. And what this allows us to have is a 135-hour service interval on our crankshafts, which is quite a long service interval for a competition type engine like this. Also, on our gearboxes, all of our Enduro models are now fitted, or were before, and are now fitted with a 6-speed Enduro-specific gearbox. So, Enduro-specific ratios as standard. And second, we have a new no-dirt gear lever, so similar sort of idea as what we found on the foot pegs. If it gets built up with mud or dirt, it will always self-clean itself and get back into the original position, ensuring that you have the maximum control. Looking at some dynographs that we have over here. So you can see on the 250 and 350 we have improved performance across the entire rev range. On the 350 more specifically, you'll see a big increase we have on torque, especially at low RPMs, and this very beneficial for enduro type riding, as I'm sure you know, making a lot more controllable in your low speed trails. So next up, look at the FE450 and the FE501. There's no one better than Christian to explain this to you, because this engine is actually his design. Him and his team developed the 450 and 501 motor, so kept him up, I'm sure, many late nights and lots of hard work. So Christian, give us some information on the new 450 501 engines.
Yeah, okay, here I'm very proud to introduce you to this one for sure. We were possible to save the weight by 350 grams with the completely new cylinder head, with a new combustion chamber and new ports as well.
Christian, 350 grams saved just on the cylinder head. It's quite a lot, as I'm sure most of you could agree. How did you get to this figure? How do you save this much weight on just this one component?
Yeah, we were possible to bring the cylinder screws closer together, because the maximum diameter of the piston for the 501 is now 95 millimeters, and before we also had to carry with a 100 millimeter diameter piston from an older engine. Also, we have a new cylinder and piston as well here, which got shortened, and a bridged box type piston by Koenig. with a very low oscillating mass for low vibration input. Coming to the crankshaft, here we have completely reworked on the 450 and 501. We brought the masses on the crankshaft to outer diameter to either increase inertia or without adding weight, or losing weight with the same inertia. The gearbox is completely new designed, which is got lowered, and so the engine is narrower through this step here, and also a big weight saving right there with about 300 gram. Yeah, coming to the dyno curves, you can see we have a big increase regarding power and torque. Therefore, we thought on the first test bench runs, yeah, maybe this could be a problem for enduro type riding, and we should think about some extra features there.
So yes, of course, as we progress, we're always getting lighter and more powerful, and when we have this extra power and reduced weight, we need more ways in order to make the bikes more controllable, of course. And this is where we're trying to do a lot of work in our electronics department to make the bikes a lot easier to manage for all types of riders. So new on our model year 17 4-stroke models is a complete new map switch. A handlebar map switch developed for easy operation and integrates quite a few features that we have standard now on Husqvarna Enduro models, 4-stroke specifically. So we have two maps, map 1 and map 2. Map 1 being your standard map, map 2 being your more aggressive map. And this can be changed just via the handlebar map switch, which is mounted on the left-hand side, allowing you to just change it while you're riding and change your power characteristics. But another main reason why we've developed this new map switch is we have a brand new traction control feature, which is standard on all Husqvarna Enduro type models. Something developed and seen maybe in our motocross bikes released a few months ago, but I'm sure the benefits far outweighing for enduro type riding as well. So how this works is basically the system can analyze throttle input from the rider and also the rate at which RPM increases. So if you get onto a slippery piece of dirt or loose rocks and the RPM increases too quickly, the ECU will actually retard your ignition timing, reducing the power and ensuring that you have the best traction in all types of conditions. Really good feature. I'm sure you guys will be trying this out a lot tomorrow. The feature also can be operated while riding, so you don't have to stop or do anything in order to switch between traction control on or off, and the map switch itself also lights up with LEDs, so it's really easy to see what map you're in, as well as if your traction control is on or off. Next, in the electronics department, we looked at a new throttle body, so a brand new key on throttle body for model year 17. Some difference that you might see is that our injector position has been changed. It used to be on the top for model year 17, and now we have it at the bottom, spraying directly up onto the throttle butterfly. And what we found with this is having much improved control and torque is at lower RPM ranges is with small throttle inputs. Additionally, on the throttle body, you'll find that the throttle cables are now mounted directly to the throttle body without the use of a linkage, and by doing this we were also able to save 100 grams there. Next we have the Kion EMS, so the engine management software. This incorporates all these electronic features that we have. It's a new box that's been designed to be lighter and faster at processing data. It incorporates our map selects, our traction control, and also our gear position sensors. So standard on all the 4-strokes is a gear position sensor which knows which gear you're in at any time of your riding, and what this does is we'll send a signal to the ECU, and the ECU has a specific map set up for each gear which provides the best performance for each type of gear that you are in. So that brings us to the end of the 4-strokes. Last ones we have coming up is the 2-strokes. Very exciting, two brand new 2-stroke motors, 125 as well as the 250-300, which share a lot of architecture together, showing the commitment for Husqvarna in 2-strokes going into the future and bringing a complete new engine platform that we have there as well. Christian again has good knowledge of what happens on the 2-stroke side and will give us some details into the main ideas that we're looking at in developing these new 2-stroke models.
Yeah, here as well the main goal was again to bring the moving shafts nearer to the center of gravity and to reduce the weight. You can see here in the picture, the yellow ones are the model year 17 and the blue ones are the model year 16. So here another big amount of weight saving on the 125, for example, about 600 gram. Here the improvement was even a little bit more compared to the predecessor because these engines were a little bit older, let's say.
So on the casings, we use what's called a high-pressure die-cast production process. And what this allows us to do is to create engine casings with a thinner wall thickness, but still maintaining the same type of strength that we need in our motors. And at the same, like you see on the TX125, 600 grams was saved just on the engine casings alone, making them through this type of process. On the T250 and 300, again, you can see over there, the clutch shaft moved 8 millimeters up and the crankshaft 27 millimeters up in order to get these into more central areas in center of gravity. Looking at some highlight features for the TX125, we have a new cylinder and cylinder head. The cylinder now incorporates a new type of power valve design, and what this does is gives us much better torque and power throughout the complete RPM range. As well as we have a newly developed water jacket design, and what this does is improves cooling, of course, and as in turn improves reliability and durability on our 125. Next, brand new crankshaft as well, 50 grams lighter, but keeping the same stroke that we had in the model year 16. And this has just been optimized to be better balanced to reduce vibrations and make a smoother type of ride and engine behavior. On the gearbox as well, 6 millimeters narrower, and what this allows us to do is to actually completely change the packaging of our motors, making them narrower to get them into our new type of engine designs, as well as saving quite a bit of weight, of course, as well. Next, looking at the TE250 and 300, the brand new engines that we have here. So again, brand new cylinder with an optimized exhaust valve. This still has the same sort of design in the past where we were able to change the power delivery by changing your power valve springs. So this can be changed by the rider for his preference, and then your power delivery will be different accordingly. Also new water jacket design like on the 125 to improve cooling and better reliability, better durability. But the main changes, you could say, to the TE250 and TE300 engine were on the bottom end, so below the cylinder. And yeah, Christian can take us through some of these main differences of what we changed on our 250-300 two-stroke.
Yeah, here on this engine platform, the electric starter got much better integrated into the engine arrangement. Therefore, no intermediate gear is necessary anymore, so the reliability of this starter train is even better than the predecessor one. Also, we have a counterbalancer shaft, which is increasing the vibration level very much, and you will immediately feel it when you're jumping on the bikes tomorrow.
Perfect, thank you, Christian. I think we're saying there that, yeah, we've reduced the vibration by as much as 50% by changing this. Riding it personally myself, you can feel a massive difference in the vibration changes. And yes, starter motors taken from our 250, 350 four-stroke, making them a lot more reliable and much more positive starting experience on our two-strokes. Next, looking at a common feature between our TE125, 250 and 300 is we have a brand new Mikuni carburetor. So basically what we were looking at in this change is getting a carburetor which improves our control and also power delivery from the complete RPM range. Another nice key feature about the Mikuni carburetor is it's less sensitive to changes in atmospheric pressure or temperature, which means that you don't need to have the constant setup when you're changing locations or going up mountains and things like that. So it's much less susceptible to change, which makes it a lot easier to live with, of course. And yes, that's everything from us on the technical side. I think Paulo still has some words there for you.
Thank you very much, guys. I think this was, you can be really proud, and as you have seen, Husqvarna Motorcycles put a massive effort to deliver a brand new and pioneering enduro motorcycles. I think that's all for our online streaming technical press conference. So let's close this streaming, and from Husqvarna in Sweden. Massive thanks for watching and goodbye.